Good afternoon and welcome back, Smite fans. I am still F-Dot, and I'm joined right here to my right, my man Krat. How are you doing today? How did you enjoy those last matches?
I am still correct, right?
Yeah, you're still Krat.
All right, those last matches were fantastic. I did manage to catch the end of, it was Snipe versus Cloud9?
It was Cloud9.
It was Cloud9. That was a fearsome show from Snipe Gaming, and I'm excited to see them move on with such strength. But now, we're going to see what's going to happen when TSM faces up against, wait for it, Denial eSports.
That's very true. We're looking at the first seed of the European League and the fourth seed of the North American League. Team Denial is actually, so this is actually a very interesting situation, Krat. So TSM being the first seed, they might seem like the stronger team. And mathematically, they probably are. But Denial has much more experience on LAN, and that means so much more. Why don't you tell our fans at home what exactly the experience on LAN can translate to?
Well, when it comes to the LAN experience, first of all, it's navigating the event as both a player and someone who loves Smite.
Right.
You do want to talk to everyone, but you can't blow your voice. I mean, if your shot caller loses his voice, what's going to happen to your team, right?
The shot whisperer.
Yeah, that's not going to be a good call. Now, you don't want to stay up too late. You have to maintain, you have to be disciplined, is what it comes down to. Denial's been doing a great job of that. TSM has too, but once again, this is about experience, and Denial, speaking of experience, has been together for much longer.
Yeah, you know, and that's one of the things that really, you know, despite their shortcomings, their recent shortcomings as far as Denial is concerned, they haven't won a tournament, a weekly tournament in weeks. I don't think they played.
Not this year.
Yeah, they didn't win it all this season. However, no roster changes, no team changes. They stuck to it, and they're going to stick to their team today as we're being pulled into the picks and bans. Once again, on your left side, you're going to have Seed 1, Team SoloMid. And on your right side, Team Denial eSports. The first ban comes out. It's going to be Thanatos on the right side. Denial's going to opt to ban Shock, and we're going to see an Odin ban as well.
So Odin, as we have talked about, and Shock, as we've talked about, very strong characters. Shock can just bring a lot to the table. He's a great character to first pick because he has options. He does have some downsides in that he doesn't bring hard crowd control, but Stormcall is still a fantastic crowd control ability. It does great damage, has the potential to knock back, but more importantly, it's a 3-second silence. Odin has the ring, which is something that you don't want to deal with, and then Thanatos has the potential to take over the early game. We will see a Zeus ban, and this ban I'm actually not sure about because Odin is already off the table.
Yeah, so Zeus and Odin have a very powerful combination as we see Young Bei lock in Sun Wukong, one of the stronger choices in that long lane support role these days. So the Zeus and Odin combo is rather obvious. Odin puts down a big circle that locks you in, and Zeus puts down a big circle that hurts the hell out of you, Craig. So with Odin off the board, Zeus becomes a less scary pick, but something that is a scary pick and a little unorthodox is the Nemesis pick from Definla, and I'm curious to see what role exactly she winds up in.
You know, I think it's going to be jungle. Nemesis is a character that Ponpon enjoys playing. He's done fairly well with her, and she has a lot of strength. She's able to chase down the backline. But unlike any other real character in the game, she's able to facilitate killing a frontliner. And not just through damage, but through removing a massive amount of protections. Now, there's Guan Yu and Talu Assault, that's 21, and that's good. That's a chink in the armor. But Nemesis's ultimate is more than just a chink. It ravages the armor.
There you go. And we have Lobster locking in the Poseidon and Trickstank locking in the Hun Bat. So, important to notate, Team SoloMid has 2 monkeys, which I always like to see.
Yeah, that double monkey combination is very strong. Sun Wukong, just a great support. Hunbot supplements that by having the potential to really crowd control everyone. Poseidon, a character that can rotate in a very strong fashion, and a character that Mace of the Face likes playing. So not only is Lobster picking up a good character, he's also takes something away from Mace of the Face, but Mace is playing Agni, and this is a little bit of a signature reversal. You know, we associate Lobster with Agni. We associate, at least recently, Mace with Poseidon. They're going to trade that up.
I find that funny. What I really like right here is we see Vamana's first pick on our secondary stream. Recently he's fallen off, but less recently in the recent past, so to speak, Vamana really powerhoused around. We see Guan Yu, one of Jeff Hindler's favorite characters to pick, but something I really want to talk about right here is Pon is going to play. We do have the Amusing Cobb locked in instantaneously. So I really like the Amusing Cobb pick. He's been very strong recently, and they're about to prove why.
And the last pick for Denial Esports is going to be Guan Yu. And that's a little bit of an unconventional support pick. It's a character that Jeff Hindler is very strong with Legendary, and it has a lot of assets, but he doesn't have hard crowd control without his ultimate. And that's something that you have to take note of. But before we continue, I do want to touch on this Vamana. Vamana is very good at beating on people who can't dash away, but most of Denial Esports can.
Very true. And we're going to see our first rendition of the convention Guan Yu skin. This is the 2014 convention skin we're going to have offering this year, Brett. You can only get it if you show up right here. So Jeff Hindler, the first person ever to play with this convention Guan Yu skin. It'll be very exciting to see him in that black armor for sure.
Oh, it's going to look great. The horse is also black, which is very cool to look at. But let's go ahead and introduce our teams.
Very true. On the left side, in the blue, we're going to have Team SoloMid. Lobster playing in the mid lane on that Poseidon. Hugo Fred is going to be lurking in the jungle looking for monkey business on Hunbats. His monkey brother-in-arms, Trixtank on Sun Wukong, and Game Hunter representing that Vamana we spoke about. He's going to be joining Trixtank in the long lane, going to be Young Bae playing that Amusing Cobb. Why don't you tell us who's going to be on Team Denial, please?
On the other side of the map, Pain Devion playing that Apollo Hunter role. His support will be the famous Jeff Hindler on that, as you mentioned it, convention Guan Yu. In the middle lane, it's going to be Mace the Face on Agni. In the jungle, Pon Ulala on Nemesis. And in the solo lane, it's Rushed on Ra. So we do see the teams rotating around. Denial grouping is 5, looking for a pick, but with the ward coverage from Trixtank, they're not going to find anyone. TSM just isn't going to come out and put themselves in a potentially bad position, which is smart against Denial's 5-man level 1.
Yeah, I mean, our host, Joshua Clutch, has mentioned before how the scariest moments when you're playing Denial can be those first 90 seconds. They haven't done it they have done it recently, but they've strayed from it a little bit. Their original thing that Denial was known for was that level 1 gank. They would group up as a team of 5, find someone alone, and dominate.
Well, you know, speaking of level 1, there's already a bit of a tactical win coming out from Denial. They're going to start at the blue buff with the mid laner and the duo lane. Jeff Hindler will be picking up that blue camp. As Mace the Face rotates into the middle lane, this left XP camp is left on the ground. Trixtank rotating over. I don't think he's used his hog. Okay, so TSM takes advantage of that. Trixtank hogs the left mid camp, and that is a huge loss for Denial. Mace the Face, he's going to be a little bit behind his opponent.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very interesting play. Although I don't know if Poseidon got the experience for that. Looking at Mace of the Face and Lobster, they're both level 2. We'll see who hits level 3 first and how soon. And that's really going to tell us the situation over there. Touching upon the solo lane, we have Game Hunter sitting alone as his monkey friend Hunbats is going to walk, Kuberfred's going to walk to the safe gold camp. Whereas in the long lane, Denial's getting very aggressive. Jeff Hindler and Pain Devion pushing very aggressively onto Young Bae and Trixtank, his lane partner, something that we're not going to expect to see with this honey that's going to come out of Amusing Cobb.
Yeah, you usually expect Amusing Cobb to really just outpush the enemy, but Hunters are not, they don't stand alone. They have a support with them, and Jeff Hindler is playing Guan Yu. He's got the blue buff, but hold on, Pain's going to dash in. Creeping Curse is on the ground. They're turning onto Trixtank, who is going to take a fair amount of damage, but Denial is just going to back off. They did do a massive amount of harass there, and that's going to set them up for about the next minute or so in this duo lane.
Yeah, and I really like that play. You don't always have to look for the kill, Kret. You know, right there, they took Youngbei and Trixtang to about half or less HP, which is going to force them to play a little more carefully. So again, we see Jeff just zoning, using both of his abilities, using a decent amount of mana, as he does have that blue buff. That's something you see Denial do a lot as TSM jockeys for position over this right mid camp. Denial gives Jeff Hindler their carry, or funny mistake. They give their support blue buff most of the time when it normally belongs on the Hunter, and some people say that's because Jeff Hindler uses his abilities to the fullest extent.
And it's especially strong with Guan Yu because he does have the potential to heal his friends, but Denial is going to end up giving up both of these mid-camps. So a small objective is dropping out from them. They're going to lose gold off of that, but they're still up by a very, very minor margin, and that's a little surprise. Oh, no, sorry, TSM is up. My mistake. So TSM is, as you would expect, to be in the lead, as they did get both mid-camps, both in the initial spawn and in the second spawn at the 2-minute 30 mark.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be split evenly at the moment. We have a virtual tie, 200 gold in favor of Team SoloMid, but 200 gold means absolutely nothing. Trixtang alone in the lane as Youngbei went home to regen, buy some stuff. Still, Youngbei with this level 2 Heartseeker start, as opposed to Pain de Beyond's Death Toll level 1 Heartseeker, which we call Morningstar start. That's going to be a finished Heartseeker before 4 minutes for Youngbei. That is a very good advantage. Each one of these minion kills is going to give him a stack, which gives him 1 physical power, eventually netting 50 extra.
Now, you do have to account for the fact that Death Toll is an incredibly good item.
Yeah.
And that means that I'd say Pain has about 2 minutes where he is just mathematically stronger than Youngbei because of his Death Toll. Maybe a minute and a half, and once that window closes, Pain is going to be on the back foot, especially because Muzen Cobb has the Stinger, which is a very strong tool for Hunter versus Hunter duels. We do have the mid camps coming back up. This time, Denial has eyes on that right camp.
Yeah, here comes Pon, Mace to the face, and Jeff Hindler all sitting right here. This is going to be free at mid-camp. Lobster dropped the Kraken after the Rumble. That was an obvious play. Mace to the face getting caught out a little bit, but here comes Rush. They're trying to make this a play. Game Hunter's here as well. This is the first fight of the game. Down comes the Honey from the Youngbei, looking for something. A lot of violence for a lot of nothing, Kret. That is the first fight.
This is not nothing, and well, it is. It's nothing because nothing happened, but you know who did not rotate? Pain. And that is a huge victory for Denial that cannot be discounted. The amount of farm going to this Hunter just became very different.
That's very true. Of course, very important to notice, since Pain did not rotate, what happened was he was allowed to get the solo experience while the enemy Hunter was forced to take part in that fight, which is probably, you know, it's not even a knock against TSM. Both teams did exactly what they needed to do. Had Youngbei not rotated and provided the zoning that the Honey provides, Kret, that fight might have gone very differently.
And part of it just comes down to Nemesis Ultimate. It's just such a strong tool that's going to be very powerful against Game Hunter's Vamana as it chunks him down. And the thing about Vamana is his ultimate does give protections, just not very much at all. I believe it's 10 at rank 1, and it's really the healing that does the work. But with a creeping curse on Jeff Hindler, Nemesis packing that Divine Judgment ultimate, Game Hunter on Vamana could be a lot more vulnerable than anyone expects.
Yeah, very true. Vamana's a character that, you know, there's a reason he's in the solo lane. Actually, Vamana's getting a little excited, tries to get the blue buff, gets the blue buff, so Rush is going to be denied Denial's blue buff right there. Pon's trying to chase down Game Hunter, opts instead to just clear the lane.
Oh, but in the dual lane, the horse comes out. It's going to stun out Trixtang. Youngbei able to dodge that, but Jeff Hindler, he takes the Stinger. This is going to get very low, and Youngbei, he's down to 100 now. First Blood is going to go to TSM, but the turnaround kill onto the Hunter, I think that evens it out. Support dies, gives up First Blood. Hunter dies to Hunter.
Exactly. And especially, yeah, that was a great play. You know, Jeff Hindler, that's what you're supposed to do as a support. You're supposed to...
Oh, hold on in the middle lane. Lobster is going to get caught out by the Nemesis ultimate. Kraken does hit Pon, doesn't do very much damage at all, and that's going to be another kill going the way of Denial.
Yeah, Kivo Fred's here as well. Sees two members of Denial, gonna opt to walk away. Denial's looking very strong at the moment, even though they are down 300 gold. They've made the right plays. Down goes the left mid camp to Team SoloMid. The right mid camp has already been taken. That's actually what resulted in Lobster's death. And Game Hunter's gonna be looking and flirting with Rush right here at about half HP.
But well, hold on.
Go ahead.
In the middle lane, Mace of the Face was actually zoning the wave. He was letting the creeps die. He was freezing the lane in mid. That's not something you see a lot, but it's very heads-up play. He's denying as much experience as possible to Lobster, and you know, those are the little victories.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's what Denial's going for. The little victories that eventually build the big victory if they can take down the first seed Team SoloMid.
And you know, that's what Denial, that's sort of their motif as Trixtank kind of dives behind that long lane, looking for something to do, trying to find some sort of opportunity to take advantage of, and instead going to shade to the mid. Jeff, noticing that his enemy support is left the lane, is going to circle around and find Trixtank in the jungle. Sitting at one level below, doesn't really want to fight, but if you've ever seen two supports fight, Kret, and anyone else out there, you know how inconsequential a support slap fight can be.
Yeah, for the most part, it's just not going to result in everything. Every so often, you might be able to bait someone into a bad position, but at this level of play, with the great ward coverage coming out from both of these teams, likely not going to result in anything, but Trixtank, he could be in a bad spot. Ponpon's ultimate is available. They don't elect to go for that kill, as Sun Wukong's just very hard to kill.
Yeah, Pain to Beyond actually caught out by Kivo Fred. Great plays by Kivo Fred, but Pain hitting that mesmerize at the exact right time. Kivo Fred's getting very aggressive. Pain seeing what's going on, getting hit with the ultimate topping sprint. He's out. Kivo Fred shot down, about half HP. Definitely
in the middle lane, though, Ponpon, he's dropped the Divine Judgment onto Lobster, dashes into the tower looking for the auto attacks, but it's Pain diving in from the sky, now in the back of the team fight, getting very low. Trixtank gonna look to secure that, but let's talk about Vamana. He's gonna take down Jeff Hindla. Pain falls to Trixtank. Rush has rotated in later than Game Hunter, and as a result will not really be able to contribute as Kivo Fred takes down the left Harpies.
Yeah, it's going to be a 2-for-1 situation right there. Lobster, the only member of Team SoloMid, dying. So now the kills are even 3-3, just under the 10-minute mark. If you're just joining us, we have Team SoloMid, the first seed of the European League, against Denial, the fourth seed of the American League. Teams are, might as well say, all tied up. About a 700 gold advantage for Team SoloMid, which is right at the point where it starts to matter. Underneath 800 gold is very, very, you know, it's hard to have an exact number be the same, Kret, but 500, 600, 700 quickly turns into 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and you can watch the snowball fall.
And you know, it really comes down to mid camps right now. That's the difference between these two teams, is the first blood objective and the mid camps. However, you know, we did talk about Game Hunter's early rotation. We did talk about how Rush was not able to contribute to the team fight. However, he did push the lane, and that tower going down in the solo lane could be a nice objective to put Denial eSports in the lead with a, well, let's call it 500 gold advantage, if they can take that tower.
Yeah, that tower is going to be very important, and you see it already sitting about 50% HP. Game Hunter forced back into his lane in order to defend it a little bit, and Ra able to push just so hard and so fast. Jeff, you have both Jeff and Pain to Beyond in this left-hand lane, and Jeff is going to leave to let Pain get some experience, or at least deke it out. Youngbay's very afraid and is going to sit all the way back in his tower, as he knows he can step out for 3 seconds and clear the whole wave with a couple button presses.
Now Trixtank is going to be forced out from the Gold Fury, and that's going to mean that there are 4 members of Denial here. They're really looking for something. I think just continued poke onto Trixtank, but they know the junglers. I believe they know the junglers on the right side of the map, so you could see a pressure play coming out from Denial, and it's going to be in the middle lane. Lobster forced to sprint out Denial. Jeff gets on the horse. He's looking for the stun. Not going to find it. Lobster able to juke, but Ponpon, he's here, and he's going for Kivo Fred.
Yeah, Ponpon changes, looks at Trixtank. Now they have in the back, Mace to the face, in a lot of trouble. Going to get saved by his Hunter. Ponpon's actually going to turn that around and kill the enemy Hunter. Up on his horse is the Trixtank on his cloud. Pain to Beyond going to stop, drop, and roll all over Trixtank. Trickstank. Trickstank actually has 3 members of Denial on their heels, looking for the retreat. Out comes the stun from Trick. Game Hunter trying. Out comes the ultimate after the Aegis. Looks like Pain is going to get stopped down. Diving the tower. Game Hunter is going to turn around. Great decision making right there. And Pain getting out by the skin of his teeth.
Wow, you know, Pain almost died because he just couldn't get away with the sprint. I believe he was slowed and just now upgraded it to sprint 3. So that nerf does matter, and we just saw it there. But with sprint 3, you're not going to see creeping curse out of, looks like it's Game Hunter dropping a weakening curse there. You're not going to see that really get a kill or a potential kill onto Apollo again. Just it's not likely with sprint 3 being a factor.
Yeah, we actually see a much higher attention being paid to the actives on the side of Team SoloMid. You have Beads 3 and Sprint 3 on Lobster. You have Sprint 3 already on Youngbay, Sprint 3 and Cupid, etc., etc., etc. You take a look over to Denial.
Oh, hold on. In the dual lane, though, Youngbay, he's dead. And that was just a gank. I believe it was the Divine Judgment, and it was definitely the cavalry charge. Hunter is dead, and Youngbay he can jump. He can press spacebar and jump, but he does not have a movement ability.
Pon now sitting at 3-0-1. Of course, that is 3 kills in a row, 0 deaths. Here comes Jeff Hindler and Pon into the middle lane, trying to make something happen along with Mace to the face. This is what Denial is known for. They're known for their teamwork. Jeff Hindler is there to support not just his Hunter. Jeff Hindler supports the whole team, and Mace to the face providing exactly the moves necessary to do what they need to do. This is what we're looking for from this team. If they can continue to do what they're doing right now, playing as a team, this virtual tie actually lead change. Now is up by 500 gold, and now they have Cubo Fred stuck out in the open. He gets back safely, but that's what they need to do, Cret. They need to look for those team plays as they use teamwork to get this blue buff.
Yeah, Fear No Evil will be dropped there in an attempt to try and get the buff camp back. It's not going to work, and we do see Denial with 4 members on that left-hand side, as it looks like Lobster able to get one of the mid-harpies, and Mace to the Face likely going to pick up the second one. Denial rotating over, perhaps going. No, they're going to bait out Trickstank. He's forced into his ultimate. With that ultimate down, it might give them the room they need for the Gold Fury. But Pain, he's going to start a fight with Youngbay, and it's going well for him.
Yeah, Pain sitting 2 levels higher than his enemy Hunter would very much like to box and hunt Youngbay at the moment. Pon shading over, up on the horses, Jeff Hindler. In comes the cavalry charge, gonna turn around, throw that ult to the wayside, and charge in with the minions. With a full-fledged force of minions, Youngbay's forced to beat out of the Agni stun. Trickstank, no ultimate left to give. Down he goes to the Jeff Hindler Tableau Assault. Now Lobster walking into the hell and into the fire. Out comes the Kraken, gonna bring a lot of Denial members low. Pon's gonna give his life. So that's a 1-for-1 trade. Pain forcing to use across the skies to get back to safety, and they're gonna reset after a 1v1 trade.
You know, funny you say the reset. The same thing just happened in the solo lane. Game Hunter and Rush going head-to-head. Game Hunter using his ultimate to heal up quite a while ago. They just reset. Rush being low on mana, Game Hunter being low on health, but this lane is still very much in favor of Rob because he can simply out-push his opponent.
Yeah, Rock can out-push his opponent. Depending on who the opponent is. Just kidding, Rock can out-push virtually anybody in Smite. Is there a single god that Rod doesn't out-push?
I'd say the ones that just clear faster, so maybe like Anubis, Poseidon,
of course you would
Hell. Anubis has insane clear, so he could do it. I mean, it's not a viable pick, but he could do it. Mace to the Face, his beads are going to be used. Could be vulnerable here. Trickstank going to dive under tower, and Cubo Fred jumps in. This is going to be a huge game. Fear No Evil coming out, but Jeff Hindler's on the horse. Ponmon's here. Mace to the Face survives. He has an Aegis Samuel, and he survives. That is huge.
What a beautiful Aegis that was. Absolutely on point play right there coming out of Mace to the Face. Haven't seen anything like that. That is the reaction time that we are used to seeing. That is the reaction time that you will come to know and love with this Smite Anticipation Launch Tournament. We are now seeing Denial after that fight, forcing the Gold Fury. Lobster's going to be here. Out comes the Kraken. TSM's going to steal it. That's a Gold Fury steal away from the famous Jeff Hindler. First Gold Fury of the game coming at 16-10, going to Team SoloMid. And now Denial's looking to turn this around, but instead going to opt to play it safe and walk away while Rush does something completely on his own, Cret.
Yeah, Rush is actually able to push Game Hunter out of lane, and this next wave should take the tower, so it's going to help Denial recover, but honestly, That was an uncontested hog. Jeff did have hog 3. He missed it, and you know, sometimes you miss skill shots, sometimes you miss auto attacks, and honestly, sometimes you miss hogs.
Yeah, you know, what happened right there, what really secured that gold for Team SoloMid was the knock-up, Cret. It was the knock-up from the Kraken.
No, the hog was before that.
Oh, okay, so it was just a missed hog altogether. You know, as you said, you know, even Michael Jordan missed free throws. It happens, and Jeff Hindla, his namesake, what he brings to the table are those confirmed hogs. The Wrath of the Gods, of course, is what we're talking about. The thing that secures the objectives at 25% HP will get the instant execute, and it was just a little too soon. So that's what Jeff Hindla is known for. Unfortunately, missed at that time.
Hold on, Game Hunter, though. He's on the right-hand side, gonna use his ultimate, gets huge, and before he can even start moving, is just dead. Denial head forward there, and Vamana was not taking enough. Now, Jess Hindla, he's on the horse. He's gunning for Lobster.
Yeah, out comes the horse. The Cavalrytron gets a good stun. Unlike the last time, out comes the ultimate from the Hun Bats. Not enough to secure any kills. Wait until later for that. Jeff Hindla gonna shred, gonna walk away. And now you have 4 members of Denial in mid lane, 3 members of Team SoloMid in mid lane, and this is looking like it's going to be one big push for this mid tower. They're ready to fight.
Yeah, this is what we call a siege, right? So Niall's going to look for an opportunity constantly through poke, through sustain. They found it on the Lobster. He's going to go down. Cubo Fred trying to get some damage off. Trixtank trying to find the control. He's going to actually go up into that Somersault Cloud, but Denial, they're pushing forward. Cubo Fred's out. Pon tanking the tower. Trixtank's going to dive down. He's going to get stunned out. He's in trouble. He's dead.
The damage over time. Mace to the face doing so much work right there. That's going to secure the kill, which is going to secure the tower as well. Game Hunter is going to take down Ponpon. The double dash is out. Going to get the good stun. That's the teamwork from Denial. That's what we like to see. And right there, Mace to the face. Ponpon wasn't getting out of there if that was a different mid lane.
You know what? Denial doesn't have just one support player. Denial has 3. Jeff Hindla's worth 2. Mace to the face.
Yeah.
But he's the 3rd.
It's very true. You know, Jeff Hindla, one of the stronger supports in the league at the moment, and Mace to the face showing exactly what he can do. You know, Mace to the face style is. A lot of mid laners are very aggressive and view themselves as the main burst damage of the team. Mace to the face, of course, does that as he's playing hockey. However, makes very good use of the stun and plays in a different way, some intangible way as these right heartbeats go down to Team SoloMid. He plays it a more facilitated way, as opposed to the more aggressive, straight damage style that most of the others do.
Yeah, you're right about that facilitation. We did see TSM take down that solo lane tower, but solo lane towers are inevitable.
Yeah.
Your tower will fall. That loss is going to happen, and Denial can deal with it. It's okay. It's a casualty of war. You expect that. Payne is going to be looking to defend this dual lane tower, and that tower's not guaranteed.
Yeah, you know, one thing I want to talk about, keeping on this Mace to the face Land is so exciting. Lobster is one of the most slippery players in the entire league. Down goes Podpot into the surprise Kraken. Mace to the face beadsing, trying to get into something, instead opting to get out of something once he sees his jungler fall to the wayside. Lobster is one of the most slippery players, Fred. Mace to the face actually caught out a little bit. He's going to be slippery himself. Under the tower is the monkey. Cubo Fred's going to die for it, but he's going to die for the kill. So Mace to the face kills Cubo. Cubo kills Mace to the face, and everybody's back at home.
Well, but Lobster, he could be in trouble. Payne is going to dive in from across the sky, but he cannot find the positioning or the auto attacks that he needs. Trixtank comes forward, taking the Tallow Assault, not going to find enough damage there. Now, let's look at what's on the map. We do have 2 dead for Denial, 1 dead for TSM. Ponpon's about to spawn. So is the Gold Fury. And Denial, I think they're going to consider this Gold Fury. Maybe they're just rotating back to lane. Could have fueled me. I think this Gold Fury was an option. It would have been aggressive and risky, but they could have gone for it.
Yeah, no, they definitely could have gone for it, but one thing that Denial does is they usually play the safe play, Fred. You know, you see teams like Cognitive Gaming, and you see teams like TSM, actually, who we're watching right now. they're the ones that really make the aggressive, risky moves. Denial tends to be a little more reserved, a little more calculated. And I think the next target that they're going to be looking at is this long lane tower. It's got about 10% HP. It's ripe for the picking. And they rotated to the left, they rotated to the right. I wouldn't be surprised to see them transfer over, shade over, and get that tower. As Apollo can kill that in probably 4 seconds.
Yeah, for sure. And Apollo, for now, he's just going to be 1v2 under the tower. Actually, will get dove and receives the cripple in a bad spot. Aegis comes out. It's going to avoid the Jingle Bang. Gets the Serenade off. Drixtank is up in the air. Pain trying to juke. He gets the moves off. He's able to get out for now. And his rotation in. CuboFred is slowed. Fear No Evil comes out. And it looks like Cubo's going to die for this. I mean, he's in a horrible position right now. Ponpon will chase. He'll get that kill. On the other side, Jeff Himla pushing out TSM, and the question is, was that worthwhile? Trading up your most farmed player with a Heartseeker on the jungle for the least farmed player, though very high level with a Heartseeker.
Yeah, you know, I think that was a definite misplay on the case of CuboFred, diving not just one tower, but 2 towers to the inevitable death. And now we see a little bit of a defense coming out from Team SoloMid onto their tower. Jeff is actually going to push on the Drixtank. This left tower is going to go down. This is the target that I was talking about, and this is already dead. TSM is just posturing here. It seems like they're doing something. Denial's going to look towards Gold Fury, it looks like, or maybe they're going to look at Gold Fury.
Yeah, I think so. They've got a lot of people in position. They do not have their Hunter. The Sentry Ward comes out. Okay, they're just going to make sure the Gold Fury is covered, head into the other lanes, and continue farming. Denial's in a good spot, but they don't have a real lead. I mean, it's 2K. That's very recoverable for TSM. And they have to keep playing safe, and they have to keep playing to their strengths. One of their strengths right now is that their jungler is at full effectiveness, whereas CuboFred just lost Heartseeker stacks.
Yeah, and you know, coming out of Ponpon, not something to be surprised at. We see a very, very unorthodox build. There's a little bit of posturing over these mid camps. Gonna go to TSM. We see Ponpon start off with that jungle Bumbas mask, which is necessary. It gives you mana for 5 and extra gold if you share a jungle camp. And then after this comes Death Toll, which is normally considered a starter item, but Ponpon, known to switch things up, purchases that Death Toll. Then we see the chin size that's very sort of characteristic of a Nemesis build into the Draining Blade, which is going to stay there. That provides enough sustain into what is most likely going to be a very item. So how do you feel about this Death Toll?
Honestly, I love it for 2 reasons. 1, the Retribution Shield, if he uses it properly, will keep him alive. 2, he's building like a Hunter. Hunters do the most damage, partially because they can send them back from range, and Nemesis can do lots of damage because she's really fast and you can't hit her, and partially because they build to do lots of damage. The Kraken's going to come out. Ponpon will find it. He's able to block the Stinger by getting very low on health. Going to dash away, and he'll be fine with Aegis Pendant to secure that escape. Rush, well, Pain, he's in a horrible spot right now.
Yeah, the Aegis isn't going to help him out. He's going to get the kill 2 Lobster. Now just 1 kill, and there's 0 people dead on TSM. Game only comes out of their ultimate. Nunde is getting very low, but so is Jeff and Mace. Mace is going to dash out. So is Jeff, and they're going to force out TSM after that battle. Very good retraction from TSM. You know, we've seen these fights come out. TSM have overstayed their welcome, essentially, and have traded unfavorably because of it. This time around,
TSM just backed up. Denial, they want the Gold Fury in. With the damage from Ponpon, I think they can do it. I mean, no, they're going to reset. They're going to reset. Okay. Would have been risky, would have been doable, but would have been risky. So they're not going to elect to go for that risky play without their Hunter alive. He's not going to spawn for 10 seconds. He does not currently have Across the Sky off. But, you know, I want to finish one more thought onto Ponpon's build.
Sure.
Aegis Pendant. Aegis Pendant is going to act as a second Retribution, essentially. It's going to keep him alive, and the only thing that will stop him from using the Aegis Pendant to avoid the Kraken, essentially, is going to be the Fear No Evil.
Yeah, the Fear No Evil is, that's the fealty that comes out of the Hun Bats. It's essentially a big team fear, and Aegis Pendant is the one that allows you to, you're still CC'd, but you get immune. And Denial, who has a lot of the line experience, we spoke about that in the pregame cred, and the Aegis pendants have been spot on. We've seen Payne use it just long enough for his cooldowns to come up, dash right out, use the announcement, and get out of there. We've seen Ace in the face use the Aegis pendant just long enough for the dash to come up and get out of there. That is pure experience and nothing but cred.
Oh, and now it's the Gold Fury pull, sorry. TSM will show up. They're going to force a reset. Denial is probing. They're looking for an opportunity, and honestly, they're doing very well. I mean, it's 4th seed versus 1st seed.
Yep.
They're more than any other match, this match has an expected outcome, and Denial so far have done a great job of defying our expectations. They have control.
They're definitely in the driver's seat right now. Outcome's actually the assault onto Trickstank. Trickstank getting slow, using the bird. The stun is gonna miss, but now there's a fight on the other side.
Oh, the Kraken.
Down to half HP. Trickstank is gonna secure that kill.
But this isn't engaged. Cavalry charge is coming through, and all of the CC is down. Trickstank's gonna take lots of damage. Cubo, he's trying to find Mace in the face, and Mace can't get out in time. Game Hunter doing a lot of damage there, but Cubo will fall. Pon, remember, he's got a Hunter build essentially. He does tons of damage right now. Stunned out of his dash though. That's not supposed to happen. Very good timing. Payne will fall as well, just kind of out of position there. And Jeff Hinla, he's forced to run away. I still cannot believe that kill on the puck.
Yeah, no, that fight was Denial's fight to lose, and that's exactly what they did. Jeff Hinla's going to be the 5th kill, and that's going to be the Decisive. TSM still very, very low, is going to turn their sights onto the Gold Fury. This is going to be the lead series that TSM needs. They're now sitting ahead by 500 gold, previously down by 1,000 plus. After this Gold Fury, they're going to sit comfortably at about 2,000 plus, if I'm not mistaken, Brett. And this is where Denial is going to evaluate how they're playing, where they're playing, why they're playing, and switch it around and get to that.
And you know, we said it before when Denial had the lead, 2,000 is recoverable. With the mid tower, it's going to be 3,000. It's recoverable, but it's starting to get a little bit rough. If this left tower goes down, and it looks like it will, as Trickstank is able to tank it out, Game Hunter does enough damage. That's going to go down as well. And now, with a 4,000 lead, oh, it's going to be rough.
Yeah, the 4,000 is where things start to get very, very interesting. This is where things start to get problematic for most of the teams. So we're going to see Rush get this blue buff. Every little bit counts. We're starting to see the teams normalize 20, 18, 19 for Rush, Mace, Payne, and Pon respectively. You know, they're going to look to hit that level 20 max mark and force some fights. You know, Denial, you know what happened here? Team SoloMid adjusted, Cret. They saw what Denial was doing. They saw why they were getting beaten out, and they turned around. They said, you know what, Pon's 7-1. We need to stop that. And that's exactly what they did. They killed him 2 times. And
to be fair, though, and I think this is worth mentioning once again, Pon's dash was interrupted.
Yes.
And there's 2 things that factor into that. Predictive skill. Trickstank cannot do that reactively. He can't see the dash and then interrupt it because no one is fast enough. Unless he's like Superman. I don't think that's the case, even though he's a fantastic player. But you can predict it, and you can hope. So I think it's luck and prediction that allowed that 2nd kill. The 1st kill, though, that's just pressure.
Yeah, no, that's just pressure, and we're going to see Pon walk past the Fire Giant. Obviously has some vision on it, so just going to provide a little bit of posturing, a little bit of I'm looking at it, are you looking at it, TSM? Going to force immunity comp and everybody over to the right side of the map. And finally, here comes Poseidon, driven by Lobster, going to shade over as well. Denial has 3 members in that middle lane, looking to get 4 at the moment, and Apollo coming towards as well. This is going to be a 5v5 skirmish in the mid if TSM wants to force it.
Yeah, but TSM just doesn't have the angle to engage, and part of the reason they don't is that they've got awkward engage.
Yeah.
Poonbots can jump in and use Fear No Evil if he finds the right angle, but if he doesn't, well, he's just in a horrible spot. His jump is down. If he doesn't jump in, he has to flank to find the positioning, and Trickstank is the same way. He has to flank to find the positioning to get the cat in because there's just too many ways that Denial can stop the cat from stunning. I think one of their best options is either let Game Hunter walk in and be like, hey, fight me.
Yeah.
Or just Heavenly Agility and everyone goes.
And this is the period of time we referenced earlier where Vimana's a character that really needs to wait for later in the game to happen. They're looking for something to happen onto Jeff Hinla, but he's pretty tanky already at the 30-minute mark. We're 31 minutes into this game, Cred. I didn't even realize this has been non-stop action thus far.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where the last 30 minutes have gone. This is just such an action-packed game. Both these teams keep looking for openings. I mean, you see TSM just roaming around the jungle. They're like, is there anything up? Yeah. Anything we can do here? Well, no, Denial's got that covered, which is nicely played from them. TSM, they're going to spot out Pon, but they don't have an angle to kill him. And in the meantime, Denial, well, they've got an asset that TSM doesn't have a response to at all. They have an Apollo. TSM's going to pull the Fire Giant. Yeah. Let's see what happens.
There's going to be a fight. Here comes the left tower is going to be Pain. Going to take it down. TSM, in comes Jefinla on the horse, a little too slow. TSM's going to take the Fire Giant. Out comes the Kraken. Going to take down no one. Goodbatch is going to die, though, in the back line. Run's getting rushed down by Game Hunter. Game Hunter's going to turn around. Jefinla's being taken down. Trickstake getting another kill. Automates the face. This is a 3-2-0, 4-2-0 engagement.
Okay, so here's the deal. Pain didn't rotate. He has to get this Phoenix,
yes,
or it is just very bad news. But he did get a lot. Let's see, Youngbei's rotating in. He will get mezzed out, and Pain, he's got sprint activated. He's men fighting the Phoenix. He will die, but he will take it. That's Decisive. Let's see what TSM can get in response.
They're going to get this right-hand side Phoenix for sure. There's 3 members with a Fire Giant buff onto this Phoenix. So that is Phoenix for Phoenix. They're going to pull the Titan. They're looking for the kill as there's no members of Team Denial up at the moment. It's a very risky play, but the Titan already down to 50% HP. This is going to be game, ladies and gentlemen. The first game of Trickstake dies to the Chaos Titan beforehand, but the Chaos Titan dies to the rest of Team SoloMid. The first game in a best of 3 goes to Team SoloMid in 32 minutes with just a 7,000 gold victory. Denial needs to take it back and win the second one in order to stretch this to 3 games.
And you know, I think what it came down to is Denial was playing very well early on. They had a lead, but they couldn't find the opening they needed to, as you would say, extrapolate that lead. They peaked at 2,000,
yeah,
and then it went down and down and down.
Yeah,
and eventually, I mean, there was one fight, right? It turned into the 2,000 lead for TSM, and then suddenly 4,000, and then Fire Giant, and then game.
And right now we're looking at Team Denial, and you can see the disappointment on their face. That was Denial's game to win or lose. Team SoloMid really didn't control that. Denial did themselves, and you know, unfortunately, it was them that lost the game. Like you said, they didn't take the opportunity they were given to extrapolate. And as we watch them sort of postulate and figure out what they're going to do next game, let's take a look over to the other side. All we've got is the computers, as Team SoloMid has already gone, and they're going to prepare for the game too.
Yeah, and I think they did well that game. They did a great job of taking the lead that they had when they finally got it, and just bringing it bigger and bigger and ending the game. And that Fire Giant call was great. Jefinla was very close to stealing it, and that's Jefinla. You got to be careful, but sometimes you just don't have the position to. Stealing a Fire Giant is honestly trying, not hesitating, and hoping.
Yeah.
And luck just was not on Jefinla's side. It's unfortunate, but it happens. There's not many situations where the steal is guaranteed.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, something that really impresses me about these stats as we take a look over into it, we're gonna pass to it in just a moment. You know, there was no clear feeder, so to speak, on either of these teams. You know, we see deaths like 2, 3, 4, 5, very respectable deaths on the losing side of Denial. You know, I don't think it was somebody getting farmed necessarily that lost this game. It was just pure teamwork. You know, and the Titan getting killed by 3 players, that was just opportunity. And I think that's the word of the game.
Well, there's also 3 players that did very high auto attack damage. They had the right people there. I mean, Poseidon's got that trident for the triple hit.
Yep.
You've got Game Hunter and Vamana, who is an auto attack character. And then you've got Sun Wukong, who out of all the sports probably does the most auto attack damage. That was the right people there at the right time and the right call, and it was great heads up play. But even if they didn't take the game right there, it was looking very good.
Yeah, that's an opportunity, though, as I said before. I feel like opportunity is the word of the game. And as we take a look over at Game Hunter's stats, he's only 18. His favorite god is Apollo, but we haven't seen Apollo in this contest just yet. We're going to be seeing, we saw him play Vamana 4-1-7 slash line, and that's going to what secure the victory. You know, and like I said, the word of this game is opportunity, Cret. TSM was given opportunities, and they took them away. Denial eSports just didn't have what they could to solidify what was going to happen right there, which resulted in the screen that we're looking at right now, TSM victory.
Well, you know, speaking of opportunity, Rushed didn't get the opportunity to do his job because of Vamana. We mentioned it in picks and bans. One of Vamana's weaknesses is that while he gets huge and he can chase you down, if you dash away, you're probably okay. And Apollo could dash away, Guan Yu could dash away, Agni could dash away, Nemesis could dash away.
Yeah.
That leaves one player, Rushed, and he just got killed.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do his job. He couldn't put out the healing that you know, Ra is the sustained character on his team. Guan Yu actually did tons of healing, but Ra couldn't do his job because he was dead, and that mitigated the fact that Denial had a Ra, and that's just Vamana.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, Vamana can do that. Vamana can take over a game. We started to talk about it, but we really didn't get to finish our point, Brett. Vamana's a character that we saw him die early game, and then we never saw him die again. And that's pretty much the story of Vamana. You know, he's similar to Thanatos in the games that we saw last with hi-rez on Thanatos. You got to shut him down early, and if you don't, there's going to be problems.
Yeah, but I think part of the reason he didn't die again wasn't for a lack of ability to kill him. I mean, Denial had all the tools. They've got the Nemesis ultimate to cut the protections by a percentage and do % health damage. You've got the Guan Yu Shred for an extra 21, which is an incredible asset. They've got the Weakening Curse. They've got the Brawler's Beat Stick. They could very well kill Vamana, but they had more important things to do.
Exactly. They were looking for bigger objectives, etc. Basically what happens is Vamana reaches a certain point. He reaches critical mass, essentially, Cret. And what happens is once he reaches a certain point, which is what we're talking about, you see his build right here, or you did previously, once he reaches that fourth item, the Hastened Fatalis, that is the end of the end. You can no longer escape Vamana. You can't run from him. He's going to run directly at you, and you have to hope for backup to kill him down. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And the 4-1-7 slash line tells a story that it didn't happen, Cret.
So now let's talk about the next game. Denial did well in the early game, as is their trademark. And they did well in the mid game too, but they couldn't find a way to transition into the later phase of the game. In fact, that was TSM that transitioned wonderfully. They found the right team fights. I believe it was 2 wins in a row.
It was.
And that just snowballed into a lead that became a victory. And you know what it came down to, I think, was just team fight. TSM was better in those team fights, and how do you change that between game 1 and game 2?
You got to just talk. You got to talk amongst your team. You got to talk and discuss what went wrong. You have to identify what went wrong in those team fights. If you can't identify that, then you have no chance to survive. Make your time, to use a very old reference. But it's all about the decision making right here, and that's sort of been the story for Denial for the past couple of weeks. You know, the story has been that Denial, their decision making has been lackluster, and you know, you can see right there the individual play coming out of Ponpon, ending the game 7 kills, 4 deaths, 6 assists. The individual play of Jeff Hindla, you know, 2 and 4, but with 9 assists as a support. The individual play was fine, Craig. But as a team, something that we expected now to do well, it just wasn't there, and that's what's written on their tombstone.
Yeah, but not for lack of trying. I mean, look at Ponpon.
Exactly.
More than, I think, any other player in that game, he played astonishingly. I think that game, you could say MVP Ponpon, but TSM won because MVP whoever made those calls.
Exactly. Exactly. It's all about the teamwork. That is the story of Smite. It's a 5-person team, and you know that's what brought home the bacon for them. They got beat at their own game, Craig. Denial's known for having the teamwork, the gel, the chemistry, the this, the that, etc. How long have they been playing together? This individual lineup?
This lineup, I want to say At least, I mean, it was the summer 2013.
Yeah, it's over. It's absolutely insane how long these guys have been together, and seeing them interact with each other behind the scenes, off screen, off stage, off the battlefield, they are just a unit. There are so many teams, both in Smite and outside of Smite, that have different sort of situations going on, but when it comes to Denial, they're one cohesive unit, and that's what they're going to need to bring to Game 2 in order to stretch this to a 3-game set. Should Team SoloMid take this, that's going to be the end of it, and that's going to be the end of the whole series for Denial until tomorrow. But for now, we'll see what happens in Game 2. For Cret, my name's F-Dot. All right, welcome back, Smite fans. I'm still F-Dot, and I'm joined here by Cret. We're getting pulled into the picks and bans at the moment, or in just a couple of seconds. It's going to be Game 2 of a best-of-3. Denial eSports down 1 to their enemies, Team SoloMid. That was an exciting game, and the ending completely surprised me.
Yeah, it was just, that Fire Giant play was the kind of call that happened.
Yeah.
And generally, Apollo rotates, but if you can take the Phoenix, that's an option too. What you don't expect is the win.
Yeah, I did not expect a 3-person team. You mentioned, you mentioned it before, how those are the characters you want to be able to take down the Phoenix.
Well, and here's the other thing, and this is something that not everyone knows.
Okay.
Every Phoenix and every tower add protections to the Titan. He had 4 towers and Phoenix, he had 4 structures up, so he had quite a lot of protections and still a 3-man Titan kill.
Yeah. Actually, we're going to see a Nemesis ban come out on the side of Team SoloMid. They recognized how well Pon played Nemesis despite the fact that they lost, and I think Team SoloMid respects what just happened. If Denial had played their cards right completely, that would have been a victory for Denial, and they respect what Pon did with Nemesis. So the Odin Nemesis ban come out, Zeus and Chalk being banned, sort of standard bans for Denial eSports. We're going to see Pain Deviant and Jeff Hindler. We're going to see what they pick after Young Bae picks that Sun Wukong a second time for Trick Tank. They really like that pick, and I think it works out for them a lot.
Honestly, I'm still sitting here thinking, boy, it would help Denial. And Denial is on the right-hand side, so we'll be fixing that in the overlay, hopefully. It would really help Denial if they didn't have to use that Zeus ban.
Right.
And with the Odin ban being in place, I don't think they need to.
No, I also don't think they need to. Now, Thanatos is going to be picked, and they're going to counter-pick Vamana. So Rush does play a good Vamana, but he prefers other players. Game Hunter, on the other hand, cannot be allowed to have Vamana, apparently. We saw what kind of work he can do once he reaches that core build, Jeff, Cret. And, the Thanatos pick for Pon, I think there are better Thanatos players out there, but Pon is one of the premier junglers, and he can adjust and play him just as well as anybody else. And if he's on, this is going to be a very scary match for TSM.
Right, now we do see the Raw, and we saw what happens to Raw against Vamana last game.
Right.
We'll see if Denial can replicate that same situation in the other way, and we'll see if they can hold their lane a little bit better. I mean, Game Hunter lost his tower.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially 1v1. And that, I think, comes down to great play coming out of Rushed. However, later in the game, Vamana just killed Raw, and I think, similarly, Vamana has the potential to just kill Freya.
Yeah, no, Vamana can definitely kill Freya. Going to force the ultimate out at the very least. Apollo being picked a second time for Pain, and Agni going to be locked in again for Mace in the Face. So a little bit of change up from the jungle and the solo lane, but exactly the same characters are going to be played in that Hunter and center or mid lane position.
Yeah, and we're going to see an Onher. Onher does very well against Apollo, just in terms of that 1v1, and it seems like TSM didn't like the way that AMC worked against Apollo, so might as well change it up.
Yeah, AMC is Young Bae's character these days, but Young Bae plays a very scary Onher. Before Amusing Cobb became a little more prevalent in the general world scene, not even just EU, but all over the world, AMC sort of wasn't interesting to players, and then very interesting to players. Gonna be picking Onher. That's a very scary thing. especially on Young Bay.
But we're also going to see a tier. And with Freya on the board, with a Hunter on the board, you can tell that tier's going to be played in the solo lane. So it's going to be a tier Vamana matchup, Ra in the mid against Agni. And, you know, even matches across the way. However, in the solo lane, when you get Mystical Mail, your opponent has to deal with it because it does lots of damage, gives you lots of protections, lots of health. But getting Mystical Mail against Vamana can be quite counterproductive because your presence extends his ultimate and your presence refreshes the cooldown on his ultimate. Recall Vamana's passive every time you get hit by an enemy god, including Mystical Mail, including auto attacks, including abilities. It takes half a second, or is it one? I think it's 1 second off of the cooldown on the ultimate.
Yeah, it's 1 second. It's 1 second.
And that can just mean rapid fire ultimates in lane. Tyr could have a tough time with that.
Tyr's definitely going to have something to deal with and something to think about as we get pulled into this next game. We're going to see how these matchups happen and how these matchups work in the next battle, the game 2 of a best of 3 between Team SoloMid, who's up game 1, again, Denial eSports.
So what's your matchup to see?
My matchup that I'm looking at is definitely in the jungle. Hugo Fred plays a very scary Freya, and Ponpon plays a pretty scary Thanatos as well. I'm definitely going to be looking towards the jungle, definitely going to be looking towards to see what goes on there and how they do it, because that's the turning point of this game, I think. Secondary, I'm going to take a look at that Hunter lane as well.
You know, so far we've actually seen a Thanatos not do very well, and partially it's just Thanatos is a great character at killing squishies, and you know, one of the things about Smite is that everyone has a counterpart. In this case, Ponpon's counterpart is the Freya, played by Hugo Fred. Thanatos can kill Freya.
Very easily.
That's going to mean that Ponpon could actually be that early game Thanatos that teams get very afraid of. We are going to see Denial grouping as 4, might have been caught out by that ward. Rush arriving a little bit late, and it looks like Denial will be spotted here. The pings are coming out from TSM. Let's see what they elect to do. Do you think this is going to be a standard start from Denial, or do you think they're going to try something a little bit more interesting?
It looks like they wanted to try something interesting, but after being spotted out, you lose the element of surprise. So I think Denial's just going to opt to go the standard start. They're going to be pointed out on this board. Definitely something interesting, but they're just going to go for a standard start right here. You need a surprise to do something unconventional in the beginning.
Yeah, it's mostly true, but I think in some situations you can just force an early fight.
Okay.
You can say, oh, their early game, their level 1 fight is really bad, and just walk in and be like, stop us. This isn't that case. Tyr and Ra and Honor, they've got more than enough. So Denial, it looks like they're just going to be going for that standard start, and TSM, well, they've got no reason not to. They just took the last game, and honestly, if they just play standard, you would expect them to take the W.
Yeah, you know, we'll see how it goes. Denial, of course, being the 4 seed and TSM being the 1 seed. They're expected to lose out right here. We're going to see pretty standard, as we said, although there's going to be a little invade on the right-hand side to the blue buff. Ponpon's going to miss the death side. They're going to look towards the buff itself, reset it, and force Game Hunter and Hugo Fred to leave it there while they continue onto the lane.
And you know, that mirrors the Hunter lane, actually. Both these lanes have one side that finishes their camps first. In the left-hand side, in the Hunter lane, that's going to be TSM. They walked up, they threatened the invade, and they forced Denial to reset earlier. Jeff Hinla is going to be able to take that blue buff, so Denial can secure that now. And it looks like Denial on that right-hand side, they elected not to clear their blue yet, so they could get to the TSM blue quicker and force the reset.
Yeah, and Jeff and Kane doing pretty much the same thing they did last time. Didn't get a little of the Tallow Assault. Out comes the aggressive jump. Jeff hit against the wall. Gonna get hit by the Jingo Bang, which is the Magic Cudgel. Now Young Bay's in the wrong spot without the jump down. First blood goes to Jeff Hinla. That is the Logitech first blood of the game at the 130-minute mark. Now Thanatos is looking for something in the middle lane, but Lobster's gonna walk away.
And you know, when it comes to thematic skins, I think Thanatos is one of those characters that could use one, the tumbleweed skin. He just rolls through your lane and looks for the death side. And if he gets it, at this point in the game, it's going to essentially win lane for about a minute.
Yeah.
You know, imagine, well, not necessarily against Raw, but a little bit. It's so much damage, and that's what it comes out to Thanatos. But because of that damage, because of that pressure, and because of what happens in the dual lane, a free invade onto the speed buff, Pon is looking really good right now.
Yeah, you know, in Youngbae, it was a great play. He recognized that Jeff was low and vulnerable, but he burned his jump. When you use this first, it gives you the knockup needed to nail that impale that Youngbae got. But the downside to that play is that now you're the vulnerable one if they don't die in time. That's exactly what happened, and Youngbae just got called out and gave up first blood before even the 2-minute mark. So Youngbae's going to be looking to do that, and because Youngbae gave up first blood, Trickstank is forced to stay in lane with him. Pain is getting the solo farm and pushing onto the tower, while Jeff is free to go and support getting mid Harpies.
Yeah, you know, I think that was a situation where Jeff Handler realized that on her, Youngbae was getting aggressive on him, and he said, well, I can bait this. I picked up my dash. Warrior's Will, though it's a very short dash, I'd say it's actually faster than Agni's Path of Flames in terms of travel time, and the startup's about equivalent. It's just a very good way to juke people, and he was able to find the distance that he needs. But now, Ponpon's in the air. He's looking for Game Hunter. The Lawbreaker comes out. He hits the tower. Ponpon's going to miss. Fearless going to miss as well, and Ponpon's just looking for some poke. He can't find it. Nicely done from Game Hunter.
Yeah, Game Hunter dodged extremely well. Unfortunately, the Fearless miss, that would have pushed Pon into the tower and actually most likely would have gotten the kill right there. You know, Fearless, when it misses hard, and that's that story. Evo Fred is here with the lift and his tail into the wall. Jeff Hindley gets up on the horse defensively, and a beautiful defensive play from Payne as well. Going to provide the support with that Mesmerize, going to make sure that Jeff is free, safe, and sound. Great teamwork right there from Denial in the long run.
Yeah, but great teamwork from CSM too. Another banish. Here's the impale, but it's going to miss. Payne could be okay. He uses the move to get out. Trickstank, no, it's going to be Valkyrie's discretion. There's just, most of the time at this level of play, you cannot juke Freya's ultimate. It just doesn't happen. And now Mesa Face, he could be in a bad spot, but with Valkyrie's discretion down, he's going to get aggressive. Ra's heal will ensure that Cubo Fred is not going to fall.
Yeah, he's going to get out of there, and you know, it was an unfortunate missed impale from Youngbae, and don't really know how that happened, but I really like the play that Cubo Fred did. He ganked the lane and then left, but he didn't. You're right. And there's no way Denial could have known that he didn't leave. He just sat there waiting for them to think that he left. That's what happened, and they got the second kill because of it. So great trickery right there. Great use of the jungle as a hiding device and keeping enemies on their toes. Very hard to do.
Yeah, now in the middle lane, Mesa Face is going to get a decent poke on a Lobster. Ponpon dives down, not able to find the kill with his ultimate, but Death Sight, that's just as good.
Yeah, he actually missed the ultimate.
No, he connected, it just
wasn't
raw
in the
heal.
threshold. Yeah, it wasn't in the kill threshold, but as Brett said, the Death Sight was just as good enough. Does a lot of damage, and it heals Ponpon as well. So that's going to be the second kill for Denial Esports, sitting at about 1,000 gold lead, a little above 1,185 with the securing of that gold cam. So excellent play right there. And this is similar to what we saw in the first game. Very small victories going the way of Denial, being played very well, winning the small battles. Let's see if they can win the war, unlike the first game.
And when it comes to small battles, well, another one just started. It's going to be Denial taking away the blue buff from Youngbae. They're just not letting Youngbae have a nice day.
Nope, this is not Youngbae's perfect Sunday, Saturday, or Friday in this case at all, Brett. You know, and like I said, this is what Denial does well. They make the small plays, but whether, I don't know if they can make them into big plays. Last game, they couldn't turn them into bigger plays. We have to see what can they do differently this game as it's starting off the same way. What does Denial need to do a little bit differently to make the ending a little bit different?
Well, I think right now they're doing a good job of leveraging their early jungle advantage. Cubo Fred dropping to half health, and that's going to force him back, but Jeff Hinless here. He's going to dash forward, finds the Tail Soul into Cavalry Charge, and at the very least, you can see Valkyrie's discretion, but the threshold has been hit. Tauntaun's not going to connect. He's not able to find the Soul Reaver, and he's going to take too much damage. He falls, Trickstang rotating in. That's an unfortunate misplay. Oh,
that was a free kill from Ponpon, unfortunately.
Such bad luck.
It did not connect right there. The Ponlock is not on his side. The kill goes to Lobster, and Ponpon's going to spend 5 more seconds at the fountain. That is going to be just his first death, and he's not building Heartseeker, so no stacks lost right there. But it's going to push him further down the gold bar. Just hitting the 4,000 gold mark. Whereas Cubo Fred, he has more gold than Cubo Fred, to be honest with you. Cubo Fred at 4,025 at the moment, and they're about even with that last death cred, but you know, this isn't going to look good should the trend continue for Ponpon.
Yeah, exactly, and you know, the trend right now is that he's even with Cubo, but Cubo's playing a character that's just better late game. I mean, that's when Freya shines. So you want Ponpon to be able to do enough right now that the late game doesn't matter. Lobster not going to get stunned out, but the stun's still on the ground. It's in a decent position, the dash forward. Lobster is trying to survive. Ponpon misses the death side, and now he's looking for Lobster. Can't find the kill. Banish up in the air. Cubo Fred looking for the damage. Valkyrie's discretion is available. It will secure the kill. Mace of Face in trouble. The snipe comes out, not going to connect. Cubo Fred is zoning off the tower, but Mace is able to get out there. A nice counter gank from TSM.
Ra's doing so much damage. That Lobster being, not even the ultimate. Lobster just doing so much damage to anybody that he sees fit. Game Owner's Tower is going to get to below half HP thanks to Rush. Just one mindset. Out comes the Blink and the Fearless into the second Fearless. So, and actually going to get Lawbringer with the ultimate out from Rush. In the solo lane, you see a lot of early ultimate credit. Sometimes you're like, I don't know.
Oh, Cavalry Charge on the Gunbay. He's going to be sprinting away. Kane is up in the air, uses the CC immunity from his ultimate, and is able to get out of that one, but lots of harass. Trickstang looking for aggression, and Denial knows that's because a rotation is coming. They're going to back off, and it's just going to be a reset across the map right now, as we do see Ponpon looking for his speed buff. Game Hunter rotating out the zone lane to get right mid-camp, and mid-camp are going to go to TSM.
Yeah, Team SoloMid telegraphed that play in the long lane a little too much, and that really prevented what was looking to be a great gank. Again, we're going to see them freeze the lane in the long-hand lane as Game Hunter returns to lane, returns and notices that Ponpon's there. Wants to make sure that the minions don't get pushed up.
Oh, Mason Face is going to die. A nice snipe coming out from Lobster, and that's the lazy back. You just can't do it against Raw, especially if they can find the angle they needed. Mace of Face was pushed very low from the Pulse Irradiate from Freya. It dropped into about 100 health. Lobster just nailed the snipe, and that just seals the deal. It's really, it's just so unfortunate when you die like that. You're like, I knew I shouldn't have been doing that.
Yeah, that's gonna kill a lot of the morale. You know, he's gonna get yelled at from his team for doing something like that. You know, it's just unfortunate when you beat, when you back and you fall back to the fountain, and that's what we're looking at right here. Rush actually rotates over to mid lane, getting about half HP from Lobster, forcing the ultimate out. The Sleeping Giant comes out, you know, and it's of no consequence. He kills 2 minions with it and walks away. Ra, on the other hand, attacks the base after losing about enough HP that he healed up in the meantime, and no harm, no foul over there. So good rotation of Game Hunter to play the defense and not allow any minions to be pushed on that tower, but nothing really of consequence onto the Ra either.
Now, we are going to have TSM aggressing on that left-hand side. They're looking for an angle onto Payne and Jeff. Looks like they're not going to find it, but Mace is rotating over, just dropping a ward in that solo lane. We do see that Game Hunter has a mystical mail, so that is going to constantly be taking a rush. It's going to do good harass damage, but hold on and invade onto the blue camp. Jeff Hinla, he's just going to go for Cubo Fred. This is a big spread out fight, and Payne, he could be in a bad spot, but no, they're turning onto Lobster. The stun does not come out. Valkyrie's discretion, but Ponpon, he's looking for Lobster, down to 100 health, can't find the kill, forced to dash away as Cubo takes down Jeff Hinla. Mace of the Face trying to find damage onto Cubo as Ponpon just gets caught out by himself. His team was not there to support him, not able to find the damage onto Cubo Fred, and it just seems that Denial at this point is demoralized.
Yeah, Denial is definitely caught out. Their team is spread out. They're playing 1v1 Smite at the moment. Lobster gets another kill onto Mace in the face. That's his 3rd kill in a row right there. That is a killing spree. And now we're going to see TSM turn their face to the gold.
And what can you do to, that's a rhetorical question. You can't do anything right now. Denial just, they don't have a response to that Gold Fury because no one's alive. That's what we call the free Gold Fury.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you lose a big team fight. You lose it pretty resoundingly on that left-hand side of the map. It's just, the Gold Fury is gone. And it's a consequence of fighting like that. And you know, I think in some respects, Denial went for a fight that they shouldn't have taken.
Yeah, Denial really... You know, they forced that fight credit and they really didn't want it in the first place. It wasn't something that worked out. Game Hunter is going to push an entire wave of minions onto the tower. Here comes Pon again, missing with the Death Slice. Fearless Power Cleave going to get Pon down to about 25% HP. Pon's going to run on it. The Power Cleave comes after the Fearless, and that's just another kill on TSM. It is now 8-2 at the 12.5-minute mark.
Oh, but in the middle lane, Lobster actually could get caught out here. Midspin's going to dash forward, does find the Flame Wave, but the cavalry charge doesn't connect. Now Telu Assault, that's hard to dodge. He's not going to be able to dodge enough hits, but Jeff Hindla gets banished under the tower. Will be able to get out, but the damage is coming out. It's not going to connect, and Pain, well, he's here in the fight. Valkyrie's Discretion from Cuba will secure the kill, but now his escape is down. There's just not enough damage to confirm him. Unless, oh, a nice stun coming out from Mace to the face. Pain's not going to go for it, and I think that's the better part of Valor.
Yeah, no, it is. Rush is going to pick up a solo kill in the solo lane very quietly while this skirmish goes on. There's going to be a kill on the Pain. Cubo gets credit. Pon's in the air looking for Cubo. Fred not going to be able to get there in time. Cubo is safe along with Young Bay, but this solo lane tower is not. Rush is going to get the first tower of the game. So Golda down in gold. They're up in towers. That is a 800 gold deficit for Denial, but they do get that first tower. Good play by Rush in the solo hand lane, and good kill as he did get the solo kill on Game Hunter, which ensured that tower.
Yeah, so now we are going to have the... Young Bay's going to be recalling, he's going to be spending his gold, and right now it just seems like TSM, they're trying to find an opportunity to go forward in this game. They did lose a little bit of their edge there, going from 2K down to 1K. They're still in a commanding position. They're still in control of this game through picks and play and just how things have been going so far. But it's the fact that they're stronger right now. And I think a big part of that is just momentum.
Yeah, the momentum is going to mean a lot more than the scoreboard at this moment in time. Lobster and Trickstank are looking for Pon. Pon's actually in his own jungle, and TSM is looking for Smite. They want to make something happen. Pon's going to go for save goals. Jeff Hindla's here by himself, caught out just a little bit, but he does have the horse available should he need it. Trying not to do this, he has Sovereignty online, so he's going to be a little tanky already.
And we do have some damage coming out onto Mason. He's not going to find the meteor that he wants. Trickstank could be caught out here. The Telu Assault coming through, not going to be enough. And Cubo Fred's pressuring the tower, but Freya's tower damage is not that big. In the duo lane, Apollo is going to take quite a bit of poke from Young Bay. We could see a kill attempt here with Trickstank coming in, but the Impale is used. It's not going to connect. Jingle Bang, Desert, Fury, it's going to find what it needs to do. Pain goes down. 2 ultimates used for it, but that's still nicely picked up by TSM.
Yeah, no, that's definitely worth it. Here comes Connor, trying to make something happen. Elbow the horse, he doesn't even need it for Young Bay. Not going to be able to make it to Trickstank back there. Instead, turns the loop around. Blink into Fearless Power Cleave. He's going to walk away. Jeff is just too tanky in juxtaposition. Pon is in the air, looking for something to make happen. Coming over here, Freya's going to land on the ground just before the Thanatos also. No kill right there. Rush is going to get Cubo, but now Pon's beautiful agents right there, and they're going to look for Game Hunter.
Yeah, Game Hunter's getting very low. Now, he is tanky. He does have lots of escape. He will get stunned out. It's only going to last 1 second because of his passive, and Tyr's just a very hard character to track down. Denial knows that they can't get him, but Pain's rotating with his ultimate. He did fall. That's going to allow him to get back to the team faster, and as a result, they're going to look to push down this mid tower, pick up some more objective gold, and it's going to put them back in a slight advantage, but TSM, they're not going to let that happen. They rotate back in just in time.
That was a great rotation, great spot on heads up play, and you're going to see Trix actually rotate over to the left-hand side. I think he's curious about Gold Fury, wants to see if he can do something like that, wants to see the vision situation for Denial, and instead he's going to hop around to stay around the middle. So he wanted to make sure, it's important that he looked at Gold Fury right there to see what was going on and to make sure nobody was there, but he doesn't really need to engage on it right now, as that would actually be a pretty foolhardy play.
Yeah, it's not an option right now, but we actually do have Rush aggressive game under controlling, will force out the Lawbringer, and remember, just because of the way Vamana works with that passing, that's a good force because Vamana's ultimate effectively has a shorter cooldown. If he stands next to Tyr for the entire duration his ultimate is down, it'll come up twice as fast, just a fun fact. But Ponpon is going to take some damage from Freya. Cubo Fred, if this were an FPS, you'd call that a corner snipe. He was just camping that corner, but it's not going to really result in anything, as Thanatos will just heal that up with one death.
Yeah, actually, Lobster is being very aggressive right here. Caught out, though. The Tableau Assault on top. Just going to chase on the horse. The sprint is good. He's going to walk away. No big kill right there. Kane is going to be looking for something as well. The blink, he's heard, and he walks away. But Tricktek is right here. Going to get the freeze, going to get the stun, and Game Hunter's going to get the kill. Ponpon in the air, falling down, gets to execute onto Young Bay. And now Tricktek looking at a bad position. The Screaming Curse is slowing, and Ponpon is dead from the Lobster side, all the way in the backhand lane. Game Hunter picking up face to face, and now Cubo is in the air.
Yeah, Cubo's gonna be able to do some damage there, and they forced Denial back. Nice setup with that banning to take down Ponpon. There was nothing that his teammates could do to deal with that one. And I think part of it is just Cubo Fred is surviving longer than he needs to be allowed to. But Rush, he's gonna dress on the Sculpture, force the ultimate out from Tricktank. He's gonna solo force the reset. Okay, not able to force the reset. His ultimate is ending now. He doesn't have the hog, not able to get it. Just gonna go through, but it was a valiant attempt, and he's gonna actually be able to get a kill for his trouble. Pain does land, but he'll get comboed down by Game Hunter and caught out Serenade to try and get some distance, and now Rush is in trouble as Pain's forced to sprint out, and I mean, they got a kill, and that's nice, but it's not going to be enough.
Nah, it's definitely not going to be enough. They need a little bit more, but it's worth noting that Denial is only down at this moment in time by 2,600 volts, which is, you know, we keep talking about what the leads are and what the leads mean in translation, and 2,600, 2,500 is just not a lot. There's a lot more Smite to be played with that little lead, and Denial can bring it back at any moment with just a couple of golds, with just a Gold Fury and a tower, or any sort of mix and match of objectives. So while Denial seems to be while TSM seems to be in the driver's seat firmly, that is not the case, and this is anybody's game.
Yeah, it really is still anybody's game, and part of the reason for that is just Rush is in a good spot. He's sitting at 3-0 on Vamana. He's getting his build going. But in the middle lane, we do have a fight coming out. Mason Face is in a bad spot, able to dash away. Jim Pinla turning tail too. Rush caught out by the bandage, but the damage isn't... It's a lot considering he's Vamana, but it's just not going to be enough. And in the meantime, Pain's playing the split push game. He's going to back before Young Bay arrives.
Yeah, he's going to know that his time is up. He's going to hit that B button and recall very successfully. And now it's Young Bay's turn to sit in the lane. He's going to get this entire wave to himself very simply, very quickly. He'll be able to take it down, but in the middle lane, we're getting a little bit of aggression. Lots of bombs coming out and a little bit of a stun attempt coming out. And it's enough to push TSM off the tower. So great D by Denial to prevent that tower from going down. And they're going to reap the benefits and shade over to the left-hand side.
And I think it just comes down to defense from Denial. We do see TSM looking for an opportunity in the jungle once again, but Denial's doing a great job of making sure that their jungle is never available to be invaded on. That's just Ponpon being spot on with the timers. And while they are on the map, a big part of it is just being able to get there when the camp spawns, so it's just not sitting up. You can't let those camps be up because they are a map objective, much like the mid camps. They're just a map objective that's naturally in someone's favor, but Pain, oh, he's going to find the Pain. Young Bay able to get the Pillar Stun. The ultimate comes through. Cubo securing the kill, and that's okay because, well, both Young Bay and Cubo are very hard carries.
Yeah, I mean, Youngbae 2, 3, and 6 Slashline at the moment, and Cubo Fred 6, 1, 5. That is a scary Freya. Youngbae looking for blue or something else. Jeff Hindler's going to be enough to scare him back into lane. 2 members of Team SoloMid on this left-hand tower. That's going to go down. Don't worry about that at all. Now Jeff wants to engage on this 1v2. Even though he's a tank, that is a Freya and an on her. He's up on the horse. He's looking for Youngbae. Wants to stun. Both him and Ponpon miss. Now Cubo's in the air. Going to provide a lot of damage coming off of Ponpon. Tries to kill some minions, taking all that punch. Going to get a heal from Jeff, but it's not going to be enough. Down comes the Hawk, out comes Cubo, and down goes the Ponpon.
And you know, I disagree that Ponpon missed. I think he was juked. Youngbae jumped forward and then ran back, and that is just an incredibly powerful juke because it's just, you know, maybe you can land it on the jump, but then it requires incredible timing, and if they hit that, well, you're not going to be able to do too much. But Kane is going to be diving in. He's looking for Youngbae, who's very low on mana. Serenade to secure the autos. The move's not doing enough damage, but Payne gets it nonetheless. That's going to be a nice pickup, resetting those Heartseeker stacks. But this is still 16-9. TSM is still up 4,600 gold, and Denial still has a long way to come.
Yeah, this is going to be a long, arduous climb up for Denial eSports. And actually, we're going to see in the left-hand lane, Rush is going to push another tower. This time, the long lane tower. Previously, we saw him do this in the solo lane. Now he's going to switch to the other side and push all by his lonesome. 50% already. He's bringing the tower down. This tower actually might fall, especially with Payne arriving. It is going to fall. Trickstang caught out a little bit. Level 14 to Rush 19. So Rush said that Trickstang will be coming, and he's instead going to opt to fall back and shade away.
Yeah, and we do see the mid tower go down to Mace to the face as well, so that's going to mitigate the lead that was picked off from towers from TSM. It's going to be back to 2,500, so it's looking good for Nile. They just recovered a lot, and now they just need to find another opportunity. That Gold Fury, either they can get a nice pick on TSM and go for it themselves or contest it when TSM goes for it. Either way, I think that's going to be the next point of contention.
Yeah, they're going to look for that Gold Fury for sure. TSM will probably be able to nail it. Ponpon's actually going to use, looks like beads, but it wasn't. It was just the Magi's Blessing being knocked off from the Sun Wukong knockup. And that's a very powerful ability because of how powerful that Magi's Blessing is. Magi's Blessing will, of course, absorb a single hard crowd control ability, and that's exactly what it did. The blink of death of Game Hunter, Pantheon getting juggled all around, able to bounce back with that move. And now Cubo Fred in the air, going to not take him down. Trickstang is searching, but not able to secure the kill, so Payne is safe and sound.
Yeah, but it's going to be Rush diving on the Cubo Fred. Not really going to find the damage he needs, and Mace, the meteors don't connect as Cubo is able to back off enough. Denial, well, Ponpon's in a bad spot. He's able to juke quite a lot, but he doesn't have a way out of there. Rush getting very low as well. A heal from Jeff is going to keep him alive. In Payne, he dives back, but he's in the back line, and that's not where you want to be unless you have the upper hand. He doesn't. He's going to go down. He is 1 and 6 right now, and you just can't be there when your slash lane is like that.
Yeah, it's a very aggressive play for someone that's a little more ahead. Jeff Hindler will be taken down as well. Using the Fearless into the impale from Honor that we saw before. That's going to be another kill for Team SoloMid, putting them solidly 4,000 gold. That's that because the tower kill. 5,000 plus gold into the lead at the 25-minute mark. It's 19 kills to 9 in favor of Team SoloMid with no towers left in the entire long lane. 1 tower left in mid. Team SoloMid looks to be playing very strong.
Oh yeah, they're up 5,500. Soon to be more. Again, Rush trying to contest the Gold Fury. He can't get in there. But he actually doesn't have a Hand of the Gods. A lot of times on bruisers such as Vamana, you see that Hand of the Gods. He elected not to get it, so the only confirm hog right now, that's the only Wrath of the Gods on Denial, is going to be on Jeff Hindler. And unfortunately, he was taken down. He was not present to contest. That's a smart move from TSM. You're up against Jeff Hindler. Why would you go for an objective when he has the opportunity to stop you?
Yeah, you want to wait for the opportunity that lets you take it for free, essentially. Now Rush is fighting Game Hunter. You're going to be put both at 50% HP, but Game Hunter feels something. He knows what's going on. Jeff and Pon have rotated over, and they're going to look for tier. So Game Hunter made the right choice and ejected him at the right time, which disallowed the enemy team from getting set.
Yeah, so, you know, you're up 7,000 gold, you're TSM, because they're in the lead. You can do Fire Giant here. You've got the damage. What do you think they're waiting on? Do you think they just don't want to force it? What do you think that is?
You know, I don't think they want to force it at the moment, Brett, but they could. I think they have a better eye on towers, which they have more of an eye on towers and the hard objectives rather than the respawnable ones, even though Fire Gun is what helps you get those towers down in the first place. I think right now the door is just open for towers, and the door isn't as open for Fire Gun. So this topic is saying all the towers on the board. We're going to see Young Bay push mid tower all by himself, and we're going to see the rest of the team push the right tower. So this is what they're being handed.
Oh, we've got a fight coming out though. Ponpon's up in the air. He doesn't really have anything to dive down on. Cubo Fred into that Valkyrie's discretion. Ponpon, I think he was looking for Young Bay, not able to find it. Now Rush is completely in the background by himself. Weakening Curse is out. He just tries to get some protection from his ultimate. It's not going to be enough. And Pain once again split pushing, once again looking for this Phoenix. But now TSM's recalling. Maybe he'll get it. I don't think he's going to be able to.
Nah, this is not the same situation as last time. Doesn't have enough power to kill it, even if he kills it himself. And this is now 3 members instead of 1 rotating over. There's only 2 members of Denial, 2 members of TSM in that right-hand side, and Lobster's getting caught out a little bit, but Jeff and Mace are just gonna push him and force him out of that lane to prevent any more damage done to their team.
Yeah, and you know, it's important to point out that there's a roughly 9K lead on TSM right now. Right. But they're only ahead by 1 tower. That tower is worth 1,500 gold, which would put it at, 7,500. But Lobster is going to get engaged on by Pain. He hits the ground, the moves to go forward. So beautiful, it's not going to connect. He doesn't drop Serenade, and Lobster is just going to get out. A misplay from Pain to Beyond.
Yeah, definitely misplay from Pain. If he had played, there's so many different outcomes that could have happened in that situation. But unfortunately, we see the one that we see right now. We're at the just under 30-minute mark, and there is a 9,000 gold lead in favor of Team SoloMid at the moment. Team SoloMid probably going to be more than the next mid lane tower, if I'm not mistaken. And Rush is going to get rushed down, put out by a little bit of miscommunication there by CSM, but they're still surrounding Rush, and down he goes as soon as he opts into the ultimate. So ultimate didn't really provide too many protections that time, and instantaneously died. And that's going to be the mid tower. Denial now has 0 towers up. Even though Team SoloMid only has 2, that's an 11,000 gold lead in favor of TSM.
Yeah, and what it comes down to is Vamana is, in some cases, deceivingly tanky. Sometimes he's unkillable, sometimes he's not. In this case, Weakening Curse, he was alone, so he's not going to get any healing for 5 seconds, and his ultimate adds 25 protection on top of Rune Ward Hammer. He's just dead. Jeff Hinla forcing a cavalry charge to get out. He'll be able to get out of there. Mace the Face doing a nice stun to help him out, but that's Fire Giant for free. Game Hunter not finding the Blink Fearless that he wanted there. Nonetheless, Denial is in a bad spot. And it's actually going to be Pain. He's dropping very, very low. Valkyrie's discretion will not quite secure that one, but Cubo Fred's still here, and Pain lands a bad spot. He's able to bait him out. Nicely played from Ponpon. Mid-tower, or mid-Phoenix still in trouble, dropping to about a quarter. Young Bay should be able to secure that. And Mace to Face is going to get taken down, I believe, by Trixtank.
Yep. Trixtank got that kill, and Game Hunter's actually looking towards it. Young Bay comes out with the ultimate, gets Jeff Hidla. Pain now ulting from the fountain. Rush is going to use clear the path to the fountain. Actually just gets hit by the Robbie. Pain is going to go down in the front lines to Game Hunter. Ponpon and Rush providing a little bit of defense, and they're going to opt to kill the left-hand Phoenix, and I think they got this, Rush.
Yeah, this left Phoenix is just very low. It will go down, and there's now only one. Rush able to stomp out Young Bay, so that problem has been eliminated for now. Rush is in a bad spot receiving the Fearless. Will get stunned out of his dash drop Creeping Curse, but that's not going to save you, buddy. And now Game Under Trixtank and Lobster, they're rotating for the right Phoenix. Likely they'll be able to take it as they've got healing. They've got 2 tanky characters. They've got some decent auto tech damage. Ponpon trying to contest, but TSM, they're not having any of it. They're just hitting this Phoenix down, and eventually it will fall. But Trixtank might fall as well. He's getting rather low. Ponpon's up in the air. Cavalry charge coming through. That's going to turn on the Lobster, so they'll be on him. It looks like Trixang's able to get out, but Lobster not so lucky. Game Hunter, they've tried to chase tier 1 before quite a while ago.
Yup.
I don't think it's going to go as well. I mean, what do you do, right?
Yeah.
He's got 2 dashes, a blink, an ultimate. Like, it's just, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and Game Hunter also 40 is gonna slow. And Ponpon now going out a little bit. Looking like he was the aggressor. Now he's the defender, and now he's dead. Ponpon getting killed. Credit goes to Game Hunter. Mace to the face getting very low. Trixang gonna secure that kill after the summer storm bomb comes right out. And this is TSM's game to take right now. TSM is in the lead. They are in the driver's seat. Over a 10,000 gold lead at the 31-minute mark. This has every mark of a denial elimination right here. Is there anything Denial can do to stay in this match?
Well, here's what's going to happen. TSM either groups up and takes the right Phoenix, or they group up and take the Fire Giant. Before that happens, Denial has to push up these lanes as far as possible, and then whatever TSM does, Denial has to fight them and wipe them very cleanly, then get Fire Giant, 2 towers, 3 Phoenixes.
Right.
That is their comeback.
Yep.
It's not likely, it's very hard to do, but it is possible. The question is, and I glossed over this point, rightly so, how do you win that team fight?
Yeah, that's the biggest part. You know, 2020, 2020, and 19 across the board. And it's less about the levels and more about the gold, Cret. You know, we see full builds on most of these players. As they're pushing up the mid, this looks to be the siege for the game. Denial doesn't have that many items. Like, flat out. There's a lot more analysis to be done about it, but if you want to look at things very superficially, TSM has a lot of stuff, and Denial doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, they have to somehow have everyone do AoE damage, right?
Yeah.
They have to kill one person with their burst and kill other people as well. Like, it just has to be simultaneous. They're going to try, but Jeff Hinla already very low. Interrupt with Visigoth. Bonpon's up in the air, but he's got no one to dive down on. Pain dives down as well, but Rush is already eliminated. And Tyr, he's going to find Pain, but is interrupted by the Serenade. Nonetheless, he will fall, and now it's just Ponpon in the fight, but there's nothing he can do. He goes down as well. Mace to the face, the only one alive. The Phoenix will go down to TSM. They don't need the Fire Giant. They're going to take the Phoenix. They're going to take the Titan, and they're going to advance.
Yeah, the Titan was brought down even lower than half before from the Firemen. You know, I've heard him call Winions before. That's going to be the death of the Titan. A very anticlimactic match, unfortunately for Denial, being taken down by about a 20,000 gold lead, 33 minutes in. That is 31-12. Your victors of this bracket is going to be Team SoloMid. As Denial falls to the losers bracket, we will see them play as Team SoloMid takes the game. Right?
Look at this just companionship. I mean, they're all Smite players, right? And it's great to see that. TSM still won, and they won resoundingly, but it's just wonderful to see this level of camaraderie. But let's talk about the win a little bit more.
There's smiles on all of these Denial faces. We'll get to the win in just a second, but this is the beauty of the Smite community. You know, this is the launch tournament, ladies and gentlemen. There has been almost 2 full years of beta. These players have been part of the community for so long. We see the smiles on these players' faces. They know there's a loser's bracket, Cret. They know that they can come back tomorrow and do what they want, but it's so important. Because right in the game, we see Thanatos, we see Freya, we see Vamana. It's easy to forget that there's a Ponpon Ulala, a Cuvo Fred, and a Rush behind these. You know, we don't get the faces and the jerseys of some other sports. But when it comes to Smite, our community is so clutch. Our community is so close. You know, our community single-handedly raised over $100,000 as a team for this. So when I see these players together, it gets me so, I'm just proud. You know, so the win goes to Team SoloMid. We will see Denial tomorrow in the losers bracket. For those of you at home that do not know, this is a double elimination. So if you Denial fans at home, don't be too upset. There is a chance for them to make it to the grand finals and secure a victory. But for now, Team SoloMid takes it away, and they're the victors of your match. Let's talk about this one that just happened, Gret.
The most interesting thing looking at these items is Cuvo Fred going for max cooldown reduction. That means 2 things. One, he's going to have Pulse Irradiate up more often. And one of Freya's big downsides is she's a hyper carry for 5 seconds. And then she's not.
I've heard you say that a lot. I always laugh at that because it's very true. Everybody's so afraid of what Freya can bring to the table, but it's very concentrated. And if you juke and you juke and you juke something that's very easy to do on LAN, then it's a different situation, isn't it? Freya without her buffs up, what does she do?
Well, she auto attacks in melee. I mean, it's just not an option.
Yeah.
But max cooldown reduction is going to help with that, and it's going to help with more of the Valkyrie's Discretion. Do you know how powerful Valkyrie's Discretion is? It's the 4th most damaging magical ultimate in the game. It does almost as much damage as the Zeus ult, and you're immune to damage, and you're flying, and it's such a good ability.
That's exactly what I was going to go to. There's so much more than just the damage on Valkyrie's Discretion, and Freya's just a powerful god. That part of the story right here is the Thanatos pick.
Yeah.
Pon. So, Europe has solo laners. The solo laners, Game Hunter, Zelia, NQ. The solo laners in Europe are arguably the more powerful players on the team.
Sure.
In North America, I think it's Hunters. You can't not talk about Zapman, but I think junglers have a huge presence in North America. And Pon is one of the forefront. Not only does he have interesting, unique builds that work out, not just like, for you ranked players at home, not a dark black build. He does creative things, but not quite crazy, just creative. His Thanatos play though, not what we're used to seeing from Pon.
Well, I think in
this
part,
particular game.
I think in part it's just Thanatos. In part, it's like he was juked. I mean,
yeah.
A lot. Decisive is a skill shot. It's relatively hard to hit when you're not in melee range, and when everyone has sprint, that becomes even harder.
Yeah.
I think partially Thanatos, he's still incredibly strong. His early game is still powerful. We still saw Pon leverage that, but people are learning how to play against Thanatos as a character. And I think the best example of that is Youngbei juking that ultimate. He had sprint going, he jumped forward, and then ran backwards immediately, and that is a very good way to juke the hovering death.
Yeah, we saw Rod do the same thing, very similar to that. We saw Rod just take a straight line and then juke to the left. That's what we see a lot, and on the LAN, that's what's going to happen. So a lot of juking coming out, and like you said, it's interesting to me. Thanatos, first pick, first ban online almost all the time. On LAN, get picked twice, gets stomped twice. Both of these players that played Thanatos were also very strong, but they also wound up with extremely negative slash lines. So I think the story is less about the player here in this chance. In this case, I don't think Pon is the reason that this went down. Of course, he takes some of the blame. Don't get me wrong. But Thanatos is just a difficult god, and on LAN, his difficulty is extrapolated. As you like to make fun of me for using that word.
No, I love it. I think it's very descriptive. That's why I use it.
His difficulty is extrapolated into a no-ping LAN environment like we have today.
Yeah, I mean, the jukes are just more possible. And, the other part is Thanatos is very hard to play when it comes to the team fight, but we will be talking to Trixtank about this victory. Once he arrives down here, we have to set that all up. We'll be able to do that in, let's say, about 3 minutes.
Yeah, we're going to see. Good afternoon, Smite fans, or good evening. It's been a full day of Smite action right here in Atlanta, Georgia at the Smite launch tournament. If you guys have been tuned in today, you saw the drastic win that Team SoloMid pulled out of Denial eSports. I am joined here by Team SoloMid's mid laner, Lobster. How you doing today, Lobster?
I'm doing good now, I guess. Just won, so it's good.
Yeah, that's right. You got the victory. You got the win. Congratulations, first of all, from both me and all of our staff right here. Kret's hiding in the background somewhere. Can't see him at all, but I'm sure he gives his congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No problem at all. Now let's talk about why we're congratulating you. You won the best of 3 in 2 games. So the game 1, you guys were down. Yeah. How did you make that into a win?
Well, we were down. We had like a 2K. They had a 2K lead on us for pretty much the entire early game. and then it escalated to like 4K. But then we realized they put a lot of pressure on the early game, just like they have Providence, and we don't run with that usually. So they have a lot of more ward coverage, and basically they spend their entire early game in our left jungle. So it's really hard to deal with anything early game.
Because they have more vision?
Yeah, they have more vision, they have more rotations, but we prefer to like sit back, farm, go for the late game. And we know that we turned it around at the point where we got a couple of kills with a counter kill when they initiated, and a counter kill.
Right.
And we get 2 kills with the Fury, get a tower, and we're 4K up in like, we can spend like 3 minutes to get a like 8K gold, I guess. So yeah.
So it's all about the counterplay right there. They would make because that was a game where Denial really played well, but you kind of just played off of their good plays. You made the better plays.
Yeah, and we're not really used to dealing with that amount of pressure early game, I guess, from the EU scene, because we prefer to like, okay, we fight mid harpies, then we go back to lane and farm, but they have a lot of like jungle rotations and just spend the time in our jungle. So yeah, it was hard to deal with for sure, but
you adapted.
Yeah, we adapted, and we knew we had the better late game, I guess. But Nemesis was a real problem, like, for me especially as mid laner.
She was, and I mean, we saw the ban come out in the second game, and I guess that's going to be my second question.
Yeah.
What specifically did you do? Because Nemesis, Pon wound up with 7 kills, 2 deaths, and equal assists. What did you do? Because that's what happened. We noticed Nemesis was owning you in the early game, and then as you transitioned in the mid and late game, she really didn't have that much of an impact. What did you guys do to recognize that and fix that?
Okay, so the reason we don't ban Nemesis, or didn't ban,
Yeah.
is because we're not used to her being a presence at all early game. But when they like rotate around and he has backup all the time, it's like nearly impossible to deal with if she gets a couple of kills.
Right.
So I don't know. We just figured, okay, the Thanatos is way easier to deal with because he falls off late game, and Nemesis has a huge spike late game. So we ban Nemesis instead of Thanatos, and we stick with the Odin in second ban as well.
Yeah, no, it was great picks all around, you know, and I think that's what solidified a lot of that stuff for you. Now, more of a general question. So this is just, if I'm not mistaken, you did Gamescom, right? You've only done one LAN. This is are you new to esports in general, or is this just your second Smite LAN?
This is my second Smite LAN, I guess. Esports in general, I have never been on a competitive scene, you could say, but I've been high ranked in both League of Legends and WoW Arena, I guess.
Right. Okay. So yeah, this is a whole different ball game. You know, you have the crowd going wild. You know, talk to me a little bit about home versus LAN. You know, when you're at home, you're in your bedroom, basement, office, wherever you're playing. When you're on LAN, you have people in the crowd screaming TSM, people that know your name. What is that like? Does it help you or hurt you?
Well, I guess it's a bit of both, because you're not in your own like comfort zone. You don't have everything you have at home, but you bring your own gear. So that's the most key part, I guess, because you get used to it really quickly actually.
That's cool.
But it puts a lot more pressure, I guess. But I think our entire team is really good with dealing with stages, and I don't think anyone on my team seems that affected by the crowd, and so we just turn it into a positive thing, I guess. So
do you feed off of it?
Yeah, I try to get I motivate my boys, like, okay, the crowd is cheering, just turn it into something positive. Like, don't get nervous. Like, you're just here to play a game, you know?
Yeah.
It's the same game you play at home, just a different stage, I guess.
Especially with a brand like TSM, you know, you guys have Reggie's in the building, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's in the building.
You know, TSM is a brand in of itself, but Reggie is sort of like a great character to have behind you, you know.
Yeah,
what's that like working for a brand like TSM?
Well, it's definitely been interesting. It's a big bump up from previous sponsors or non-sponsors, you know. You get everything handled. It's just nice to have like a name to stand by as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're not a nobody anymore, I guess you could say. I don't know.
I don't think you were ever a nobody, Lobster. Not to mention, these jackets look pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty cool, actually.
That's putting it lightly. I think you look a lot better than you're a little modest today, but that's going to be it for me and Lobster. Once again, congratulations, if you will, on your recent victory. I look forward to your future games. Again, this is Lobster, mid laner for Team SoloMid. My name is F. Stay tuned for the next games.